I'm Betty. Welcome to my kitchen. One of our daughters called me the other day and asked me for the recipe for these potato cakes that we frequently had for dinner. And she said, "Mom, they're not on the website. You haven't done a video." And I couldn't imagine that I hadn't done something that we use so often. So here they are. In my bowl, I've got a little less than 2 pounds of potatoes, and I've got a large onion, and as you can see, they're chopped up. I've got about 3 tablespoons of butter that, as you can see, I've cut into very small cubes, and I've got my salt and some freshly ground pepper. So the first thing I'm going to do is to grate all these potatoes using my food processor, and I'm using a fairly coarse grater. I don't want these shredded too finely. And I'll just do these in batches, putting a little bit of onion in with each bunch of potatoes. My goodness, so much easier than the old days when we had to grate all these things by hand. I always used to think it was a little bit of blood that made everything taste so good, but it really wasn't. All right, once these are all shredded, I'm going to take them over to the sink and just squeeze them as I transfer them back into this bowl, just to get rid of some of the excess fluid. I'm just going to grab a handful of these and squeeze them right into the sink. I'm not as concerned about the liquid as I would if I were making, say, potato pancakes, but I just want to get a little bit of it out. Just continue until I've done it all. I'm using these rings, which I have buttered, and I'm just going to let my skillet warm up enough. Of course, obviously, if you don't have these rings, you can make this just in a skillet as one big potato cake, if you wish. This amount of potatoes would go in a slightly smaller skillet than this. I would say about a 9-inch skillet would be good. I'm just going to wait until these warm up. And of course, this is why I have my little cubes of butter ready. I'm going to drop just a couple in the bottom of each one. Even though this is a non-stick skillet, of course I'm using butter for flavor as well as to make sure they don't stick. So just let those melt. Just going to use my brush to get that butter all over the bottom. And having done that, I'll just start piling the potatoes in here. This looks like a lot, but potatoes do cook down quite a bit. Right, now that I've got these sort of half filled, I'm just going to put a couple more cubes of butter in the middle of each one. Again, really for flavor. And once that's done, I'm going to season them with my salt and pepper. It's really handy when you're doing something like this to grind your pepper right into the salt. Okay, and having done that, I'm going to fill these up. Press down a little bit. Now I've got this handy dandy little thing, which is actually meant for my espresso machine, but it does come in handy for several other uses. Just give these a good firm tamp down. Get that little better off there. You want these nice and firm so that when you eventually turn them over and then turn them out, you don't want them to fall apart. Now these are going to cook on a relatively medium-low heat for about 15 minutes or so. And then I'll check them and they'll be ready to turn over. And I am going to cover them for this first part of the cooking process. I think that's probably about as much as I'm going to get in there. Settle down a little more. There they are. Now once they've started to cook a little, I'll be able to neaten those edges up. I'm going to put these final little cubes of butter on top, a little more salt and pepper, and then I'll be ready to cover them and let them cook for about 15 minutes. And we'll check them, make sure they're nicely browned and ready to turn. A final dash of salt and pepper. And we're ready to cover these. All right, these have cooked for 15 minutes. Just going to remove the rings very gently. If you have a problem, you can always just take a little spatula and run it around the edges, but these really are coming off quite easily. But you can do that just for a little insurance if you like. That off and turn on the side. Having done that, I'm going to take a couple of spatulas and very gently turn these over. Beautifully browned. Try not to mess them up. Keep their nice shape. I'm just going to replace the cover and let them cook for about another 5 minutes. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little. So about another 5 minutes or so. All right, my potato cakes have cooked. I'm just going to transfer them to a baking sheet, and I'm going to hold them in a warm oven until I prepare the rest of my dinner. Kind of nice being able to have at least one dish that doesn't require any last-minute fussing. And I can just tidy them up a little as I go. I used Yukon Golds for these. You can, of course, use Idaho baking potatoes, which are a bit more floury and actually do hold together a bit better. But these have such a lovely taste. So there you have them, potato cakes. Enjoy. If you'd like to see more of my recipes, go to the website at bettyskitchenfare.com.